In this situation, you then want to think about how you select information to go into the CMS. This is about a choice of, does this piece of equipment deserve to be in the CMS? Does it deserve to have a location against it? What information do you want to record against it? There's fairly complex rules you can put in place, or you can make it very simple. If it physically exists on the plant, for instance, it should be in your CMS. But you may want to look at manual valves, for example, as something that's usually a debate. Do you want to keep them in? We would normally want you to think about things like, is it used for isolation purposes? If so, you will probably want to record that and ensure it works when you need it to. Otherwise, you start taking that isolation of equipment out to the system and then potentially out to the plant, which may not be what you want to do. So we've got a process flow here that asks about, does the item require individual recording inspections, for instance? If so, it can go straight to include in the CMS. It's when it doesn't require that sort of thing to say you have to have records of maintenance. You need to work out whether it's maintainable or not, and does it form part of a boundary package, things like this. And it could be potentially excluded from the CMS. Things that are excluded, we normally say, is things like soft tags, which are like software tags, for instance. They are things that exist on drawings and things, but aren't actually physically in place. There's usually a valve or an instrumentation or something, piece of equipment it's pointing to. We would keep that allocation in there. So once we've identified what we're keeping in, what we're not keeping in, we then want to think about how we extract data from, for example, a P&ID. We also look at taking data from electrical drawings and from data sheets as well. So in this place, we'd want to be in a situation where we can highlight the data that you wish to extract and the stuff that you wish not to extract. But we want to make sure it's all marked up, so it's all captured. So at a later date, if you decide later on that you do want to pull some of that data in, it's still available for you. So we have a data extraction tool that can data scrape from generic information from a catalogue or anything like that. We can highlight the data we want to pull out, or we can use ones for bills of materials that use more about data sheet driven stuff, and also process and instrumentation diagrams. So in this example, I'll show you as a process P&ID, and we can see here we have different single line tags, text blocks tags, parent blocks, because this is where we want to extract the data, but we want to provide it with context. So what you've got also is the drawing numbers, P&ID titles, page numbers, revision numbers, all the sort of things that would be in the bottom right hand corner of your P&ID, which is critical information. So what we want is to have an extracted CSV file or Excel file that you can read in there that would then align with that marked up P&ID, which gives you the parent, the tag, the length of the tag number as well, which is something that is particularly useful later on, the P&ID description, the drawing number, the revision, the page number, the date it was extracted, who extracted it, and also if there's any duplicated tags. So this is something which is interesting from us, because sometimes on vendor drawings and things like that, the same tag number is used a number of times, which means it may need a little bit of contextualizing, which allows us to then put the parent tag, part of the parent tag in front of it to give it a unique identifier.